Hello, hi everybody. It is Colleen with Couture. How's everybody doing tonight? Yay, I feel like it's been forever since I've chalked. And I got goodie in the mail today, so I wanted to come live and share tonight's project with you, which happens to be our awesome November Club Couture. Isn't it cute? I just love it. So let's go ahead. What I did was I actually took a picture of it. I'm just going to pull this up so you guys can see. So hold on, let me close that. So that's a picture of the finished piece. Isn't that adorable? This is, as I said, November's Club Couture. And I want to actually recreate it just like it is on here. So let's minimize that for a second. I'll come back here. And I thank you all so much for watching, and if you are watching the replay, I thank you so much as well. So let's go ahead and we're just going to dive right in for tonight's project. This is actually called Oh What Fun. I don't know why I said Ooh La La. That's totally different transfer. This is called Oh What Fun, and as I mentioned, it is November's Club Couture transfer just in time for the holidays. And actually it was pretty ironic that I had two of my Halloween boards at my office, and I brought them home today so that I could change out my design. And I just got lucky enough that this came in the mail today, so I thought, hey, let's change out our design. So I'm just trying to decide if I want to do it on our awesome Aiden board or our Sylvie board. So I think I'm going to do it on this one, just because I just love this and I'm not ready to see it go yet. Even though Halloween's over, I just want to still look at it for a little bit because I love that one. So what we do when we are changing out our designs, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go ahead and place a lot of water from my spray bottle all over the chalked areas. Okay, I go very heavy with it, and you'll notice that I do have glitter here on my bat, so it is going to be a little bit messier than normal just because there's glitter involved. But I get that nice and saturated. And then, oh, I have my paper towels right here. I was going looking for them, and they're right on my desk, right in front of my face. So, after I typically let that sit for just a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and start now. But typically, just grab a bunch of paper towels, and I'm going to run the paper towels over top of the chalk. Sorry. Oh, I just got the tickle in my throat. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. I apologize if the screen is shaking. Let me lift this up so I'm not shaking the table as much. The longer you let the water soak, the less muscle you have to kind of put behind it. So that's why I usually tend to have it sit in water just for a little bit longer. And again, it's going to be super messy because of the glitter. So I just kind of went and tried to get most of the glitter off first. And then what I'll do... Hello, Janine. How are you? Let's go ahead and add a little bit more water. I hope you're having a fantastic Monday night. Oh, that, I don't know what that tickle was in my throat. Goodness gracious, of course, I've got water in my water bottle, but not a bottle of water to drink from, so that's not good. Hopefully that goes away in a second. And again, just keep adding more and more water as you need to go ahead and remove that design, okay? We're going to get rid of that because Halloween is over. Time to move on. Just about there. Just a couple, sometimes it's just a couple passes with some water and some paper towels just to make sure you get a nice, clean surface so that we can start all over again and create another beautiful piece on our surface. Okay, almost there, guys. I'm just trying to get all the glitter out of the corners here. While glitter looks beautiful, it is a little challenging to clean up sometimes. Okay, now if I had had any ghosting on here, what I would have done was gotten my board eraser, or you could use the Mr. Clean That works just as well, but the board eraser is designed to work with Couture products, so it is going to be a little bit superior in my opinion. But if you don't have that, a magic eraser is fine too, the Mr. Clean magic eraser. And that would help to get rid of any ghosting. So we have our brand new transfer. I'm so glad you're doing fine. That is awesome. And I'm going to just use our transfer trimmers just to cut out all the little details in here. And as I mentioned, the reason I'm a little bit MIA lately is because I am packing. And right when I came live, I looked over and realized, oh, my marker is not in my little pencil case thing over there because I'm using it to box up things. So I'm probably not going to be able to label the back. It's best to use a permanent marker to label the back of your transfers. And as I said, that's kind of down the basement in use right now for packing. But typically the reason that we label the back of all of our transfer pieces is so that we can, especially when you've got multiple pieces like this, the reason that we label them is so we know where to return them on their carrier sheet. Now, I'm pretty positive that a pen is not going to work. And quite honestly, these are kind of small pieces. I'm not even sure what to call them. So I think I'm just going to forego that. But typically what we do is we would just write, and it's, yeah, a regular pen is just not going to cut it. Let me try one more. Typically, like I said, nope. That's okay. Let me try just one more. I should have ran down and grabbed the marker before I went live. No, it's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to move along. But typically you would write on the back of it so that you know that that is the paper side and this is the shiny side, and that's how you're going to return your transfer. So let's go ahead and move all these cute little guys off here to the side. If I could pick them up, that'd be great. And then, whoops, we're going to just go ahead and get started. So what we do first with our transfer, as always, is we're going to go ahead and fuzz it. So this is our fuzzing cloth. I'm going to remove the transfer, like so. And then we're going to pop it right onto our fuzzing cloth. And we're just going to pick up some lint from the fuzzing cloth. You can use a sweater, your shirt, your leggings, your PJs, whatever you've got handy, that works just as well. Just to pick up a little bit of lint to take away a little bit of the sticky. And that's all that is. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and make sure I get all my fuzzies off. I've got some chalk here. Let me get that off of there. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to center it. So again, I'm going to bring in the picture for reference. So let's go to photos so you guys can see this is what we're aiming for, okay? So I'm just going to actually keep that on my iPad next to me so I can use that as a frame of reference. So if you are commenting, I apologize for not answering you right away, but as soon as I'm done looking at the picture for reference, then I will surely, I'm going to move that down a little bit. I will surely respond to any questions that you may have. Let's just slide that down just a little bit, because if you notice from the picture, the bird is kind of sitting on top of the H. So I want to make sure I'm leaving room to put the bird on there. So I can test it just to be sure. This should be plenty. But in the picture, the bird was sitting right here. So let's go ahead and do that. As always, I do have my pan of water off to the side. That is, you know, one of the first things that I do. This way, when I'm peeling back the transfers, I can plop it right into that pan of water, okay? So I'm going to slide the fuzzing cloth to the side here for a second, and our carrier sheet. I'm going to put those down on the ground for a second, because we're going to move on to our white chalk paste that we're going to do this whole piece right here with white. And what we need to do before we can get started is we need to make sure that that chalk paste is that nice yogurt-like consistency so that we can push that right directly through the silk screen. And so that's really important to make sure that you're stirring it really well and getting that consistency, because if it's not the right consistency, see how it's dripping right from my spatula? That is exactly what you want. If it's too dry, too clumpy, it's not going to go through the silk screen very well, and you're going to peel it back and it's going to be splotchy. So this is one of the main things that you need to just be sure of, that you have that good consistency. Let me try to get this off of here. Got a little chalk boogie there. Okay. If it is not that consistency, all that you're going to do is I keep this one separate, and this has distilled water in it. The one that I used earlier to clean my board, just regular old water to remove the chalk paste. Hi, Donna. This one has the distilled water in it because you want to use the distilled water with our paste. So now that we have it at that nice yogurt or marshmallow fluff consistency, you are ready to rock and roll, okay? And then we're going to bring in, I'm just going to pull my sleeves back, we're going to bring in our squeegee. You see how it's got the beveled edge right there? Hopefully you guys can see that. That's where I load up my chalk. So I get a good amount, and then I just use the jar itself to kind of remove the chalk from the back. So all my chalk is up front. And then all that I am going to do is simply pull the chalk paste right on down. When you apply a little bit of pressure, it's going to make a nice thin layer right over your silk screen, and that's all that you need, just a nice thin layer. What I had forgotten to mention before I did chalk this, I did run my hands over it just to make sure that I wasn't feeling any bubbles in my silk screen, because you don't want to have any bubbles before you start to chalk, because you will see those bubbles, okay? So now that, and look, I still have a really good significant, hi Tammy, hey love bug. I have a significant amount of chalk paste still left on my squeegee, so I'm going to just scrape that right back into my jar, and I'm going to come back and just go over to get rid of any lines and to get any more excess chalk paste up, okay? Nice thin layer is exactly what we want. When we're removing our transfer, we want to make sure that we are removing top to bottom or left to right, never diagonally, because that will stretch out your transfer. Look how amazing that is. Now I see when I pulled up, I did a little thing here where it kind of pulled. Can you see that? So we can fix that. Don't worry about that at all yet. We're going to just let that go, and we can make any corrections that we need to, okay? So what I did was I just hopped out of my chair for a second and put the transfer into that pan of water that I mentioned I have off to the side. And now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and dry. I've got a little chalk boogie here. I just want to get rid of that. There we go. Okay. And I've still got glitter everywhere. So we're going to dry this very quickly. It's not going to take very long to dry. I'm going to go ahead and put my squeegee that I just used for the white also in the pan of water. If you don't have a heat gun, a hair dryer works just as well. Or I could wait just a few minutes and let that dry on its own, and then we could proceed. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of scraping around my jar to get all of that excess chalk paste back down. And this will kind of help prevent those little chalk boogies that I mentioned that kind of the chalk will dry up around the edges. So if you just kind of scrape all that back down into the jar, like so, and then this can go into your pan of water as well. I'm going to slide this here because what I like to do with the chalk jars is to take a paper towel and just kind of go right around the rim, and that helps to get rid of any of that dried chalk that might be there. And the reason that we do that is because when we put our lid back on, we're going to have a nice tight seal. Make sure it's on there real good, and then your chalk paste is going to last you for a good long while. Okay? And that helps to prevent those little chalk boogies. See how I got little chalk boogies on here from the jar? Just do that. There we go. Okay, now we are good and dry. And see how I told you that I have this little, ooh, I still have a lot of glitter on my board. Every time I pick it up, I see glitter all over. So right here, you see where it kind of bled just a tiny bit. I'm just taking my nail and just kind of scraping that away. The other thing that you could do is you can get a wet Q-tip. That will take care of it as well. Okay, so we got pretty much all of it. So that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna kind of very quickly just change things here so I can look at our design. So I think what I'll do is I'll bring our beautiful bird in here in red and put him right on top of the, oh, remember I'm copying pretty much right from the Chalk Couture design, which I think is gorgeous. So let's go ahead and proceed with the bird. Come on, need my thing to come back. There we go. Okay, so we're going to bring back that fuzzing cloth, and I'm going to go ahead and remove. And again, that's the shiny side, so we know to return it there. And typically I would write bird or back on here, so I know not to accidentally put it on that side. Let's slide that off to the side, and we'll fuzz our little bird. Well, I usually do 1, 2, 3 times to just put some lint on the back of there, okay? And then we're going to line it up. Oh, and P.S., this is completely dry now. I can run my hands all over it. It is not going anywhere, I promise you. Not until, again, like I did earlier, I want to remove it, and I just remove it with the water. So let's go ahead and perch our little cute little bird. And here's a little tip. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to pull it up a little bit, so hopefully you can. So see how, oh, sorry, it's hard to do with two hands here. When I slide the transfer over top, you can start to see the white underneath, like so. It's kind of hard to see, sorry. If I just start sliding it up, and then once I stop seeing the white underneath, then I know I've gotten the bird positioned right where I want. I hope that makes sense. So I use kind of the silk screen here as a guide. So again, just slide it up until I stop seeing white, and then I know that my bird is perched right where I want him, right on top. Okay. Again, I'm just using my finger to check for bubbles, making sure I'm not feeling any bubbles in these little silk screen areas. And you can always hold it at an angle like this, and if on the angle you would be able to see the bubbles as well. So it's good to kind of check. I hate nothing more than to get a beautiful project done and I'm at my last piece and I got so excited that I forgot to check for bubbles, and then poof, I got one in there. So it is kind of important to take your time and, you know, just check for them when you can. Okay, again, here is our candy apple red. Beautiful. And the candy apple red does tend to run a little thinner, but that's okay, because again, you only need a nice thin little layer covering your silk screen area. I have not tried it, but I have heard if it is way too thin to add a little cornstarch. But again, I've only read that. I have not tried it myself. So just be careful if you decide to do that. Maybe you want to just put a little bit on a dish and try it and see if that helps. But this, even though it does seem like it may be a little bit watery, you can feel the difference when you're stirring it. It's still 99.9% of the time is not going to give you a problem going through the silk screen area. Okay, so again, we're going to use the beveled side. Get a little bit, I only need a little bit for this guy because he's a tiny little bird here. Again, I get the excess off the back by just running it over the jar. And now all my chalk's up front, and I can just come in and quickly cover him up like that, just the silk screen area. Okay, see, I had still so much chalk paste left to put back in. And then one more time, we're gonna go over, get that excess, get a nice thin layer on there, get that excess back in. I'm gonna keep my jar open for a second because we've got berries that we're gonna do later. So I'm gonna slide that up to the front there, and then we can, again, peel off in one direction, top to bottom, left to right. Look how perfect he is perched on there. Let's dry him up. Okay. Now, let's just check. I'm going to lightly just touch. He's still just a little tacky, so I'm going to let that go. This piece will go into that pan of water as well. And what I like to do is push down the what fun that we put in there earlier. Push that down to the bottom of your pan, and then that way you can go ahead and layer on top of that, so that it's not sticky in the water once the transfer starts to get wet. So you can then throw more transfers on top. Okay. And I'm going to just go back again real quick to my frame of reference here. I think I'm going to go with the leaves. Where'd they go? Oh, here it is. Here's our cute little leaves. So what they did was they have these all in green kind of scattered around. So I'm going to do this one. It looks like these are all in green. And the green that I chose to use for this is actually called pesto. Okay, so let me bring the fuzzing cloth back in. And we're going to do this. It's always the same process. You're always going to label the transfer on the back, peel it off, and fuzz it. Okay? Pretty easy. It's the same steps over and over again. So let's see where they have these. They have one right here. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to pick this up and do this. On the picture, they have done the holly leaf. I think that's a holly leaf. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I am going to pick this up and put it down and chalk. And just hold this here for a second. And chalk it without cleaning in between. Okay, so let's get our, pesto is a brand new jar. So I'm just going to grab the edge like so. And this is what your chalk base is going to look like when you open it for the very first time. It may look like it has a little bit of sediment on the top, and that's okay. You're just going to come in here and stir it very vigorously. Get all that sediment mixed around. Get all the way around in the bottom of the jar. And typically I wouldn't advertise or suggest, doing this over your project, but because of we're doing live, I don't really have a choice. What I can do, put my towel down to catch anything. That would be a good idea. So then we're going to just stir this really well, like so. And there you have it. Now we've got that nice consistency again. Okay, I did get a little drop on there. Okay, so let me go to my reference again, my picture. So we're going to just go ahead and place this down. I'm doing the same exact process. I'm looking for that white under the silk screen, and as soon as it's gone, I know I'm right at the tip of where I want it to be. So there we go. That one's perfect. So for this, I'm actually going to use, because I have a, I'm just going to go ahead and use our multi-tool, okay? Because that will be perfect for this job. I'm going to just get a little bit here on the edge. Okay. And then we're going to just cover this guy real quick. I'm going to get a nice thin layer on there. Get all that excess back in. Nice thin layer, because we're going to pick this up and we're going to put it back down again and go for another holly leaf, okay? So let's grab that. There's one. And then our other one is right here. So again, I'm checking for the white. Once that's gone, I know I can put it down. Checking for bubbles. You will get a little chalk on your fingers. That's okay when you do this method. And again, we're going to cover it again, nice thin layer. Now the pesto that I'm using is a little bit darker of a green than what they've used in the picture, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly right. I just love their design so much, so I am kind of copying the design itself, but the colors are going to be slightly different. Okay, there we go. And we're going to pick that up, and we've got one more to do. There we go. And then we have our one more right here by the ooh, or the O. Why do I keep saying, I keep wanting to call this ooh la la. I do not know why. Okay, so it's right here by the bird's feather and right in here. So again, just make sure you're not seeing any white from the previous. Oh, I think I just got some green on my O. That's great. I had green on my fingers and I touched the O. Well, I may have to fix that. Typically that's not an issue. It's more an issue with ink, but because the green was still wet on my finger and I touched the white, it left a little green mark. That's okay. Alrighty. Just making sure I get the very tip and the very bottom of this covered. Okay. And we're going to get in there and I'm going to try to remove that. Yeah, see where I got a little bit of green on the O? That's okay. Happy mistakes sometimes, because what you could do is maybe put a little bit of green in here, there, and everywhere to kind of make it look like it was on purpose. Not a big deal. I don't get worried when things like that go wrong. You can always fix it. Okay, let me just check in because I have the picture on. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody to say hello. Okay, we, I think, are good. Everybody, I hope, hanging in there with me. Okay. Return back to our image so that we can see. We're kind of starting to match up with our berry leaves. Now we'll come back in with the red and add the adorable little berries here. This chalk is now dried, so I have no worries about it now touching any other part. So we're going to do our berries now next to all of our holly. And again, you've got to remember to just fuzz this guy too very quickly. Okay, now he's ready to go. So let's put some berries right here next to our holly leaf. Right there. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually keep my finger on the corner here, and then that way I'll be able to rip up. I know I said don't pull off diagonally, but this is such a tiny little piece that it should be okay. I'm just using a little piece of a squeegee since I have green on the multi-tool. So I'm just going to use a little tiny little tiny piece of a squeegee. So there's our red berries there. And then let's put some more right here. I think our green might still be just a tad wet, so I'm just going to be a little bit careful and not get too close and not push my transfer down on top of that green. Okay, nice thin layer of red on there. Perfect. And then one more over here. Right there should be good. Again, you only need the teeny tiniest little piece of chalk paste on there to get the job done. Okay, so there's our berries to go with our holly. And now I can get that excess back off of my red. And then I can put this into the pan of water as well. And now we'll move on to, let's put some, since I have the green open, we're going to put a few of these in green. Now here's the thing. You'll notice in the picture, oh, actually, you know what? There's two pieces. Hold on, I just lost the picture. I just realized something, guys. They made it easy. So there's two of these. So what we'll do is, if you notice in the picture, some of them are green and some of them are like it looks like a yellowish color. So that's perfect. I thought I was going to have to kind of clean in between, but we have two, so no worries. So let's go ahead and put a few of these around in the green. Again, fuzzing. Always remember fuzzing. 2, 3. We're going to put a couple of these around in green, and we have, let's see. Oh, you know what? I think this is the one that they did in the yellow. This, I'm just looking at the way that it turns here. This is the one they did in green. So let's use this one. I'm trying to be as close as I can to their design, just because I love it so much. And I want to hang it in my office at work. Okay. So let's see what we've got here. So we've got one of them right here. Okay, so let's grab our little multi-tool and cover this one. So a nice thin layer on there. Perfect. Okay, and I apologize again if you're coming in and you're saying anything. I will promise I will get to your comments. I just have the picture up on my iPad so I can follow along with the design. So thank you if you're watching, if you're still hanging in there with me. We're getting there. Okay, I'm just looking for the white to come through the silk screen, and then I know I'm close to where I want to be. Okay, I think we just have 2 of these in green, and then the rest are in, looks like a yellow to me. I'm not 100% sure what the color is, but in the picture it looks a little yellow. So I kind of grabbed my, the yellow that I have. Like I said, my colors aren't going to be 100% matchy, but close enough. All right, I think we might be done with green. I think now all we need is our yellow. So let's go ahead and put that one into the water pan. I put the multi-tool in the water pan, and again, remember, scrape around and then get all that green back down in there. And then follow up with a paper towel around the edge. And that helps to keep our jars rocking and rolling for many projects. Okay, I'm just getting around the edge of that one. And I think we're also done with our red. So let's close that up as well. I just like to make sure that the jars are closed so that it's not sitting open and getting dried out. So let's close up our red. Okay, I need one more paper towel just to clean up our red. I know it seems silly and it does take a little bit of time, but I promise you it's a good idea to really take care of the product, and then that way you'll get a lot of use out of it. All right, so here is our buttermilk, and the buttermilk is what I'm going to use for the pieces that appear to be yellow. So it's these pieces. I'll bring the picture in again so you guys can see. So these pieces here in the yellow. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do right now. Okay. Now the buttermilk tends to be almost like white. So let me just, hold on, I'm going to give this a quick dry. Just to make sure I got everything dried up. Because I want to set this down. Because this, I just want to show you guys. See how it starts to look a little thick? And you can hear it sounds like Rice Krispies a little bit. So you just want to make sure that I tend to notice that the more pastel colors and the whites tend to feel a little thicker. So you just need to really make sure you get in there and get it stirred really good. Okay. Now this one, it still is coming off the stirry stick pretty good, but if you want it to, you could go ahead and give it just a little spritz. Let's do that. Give just a tiny spritz of our distilled water in there, and then we can go ahead and stir. Perfect. Okay, now we are ready to continue. So let's get our leaves, which I did already fuzz because I grabbed the wrong leaf. So this we're going to put right here. I've still got glitter coming off of the board from our Halloween project. So let's get our yellow in here. And again, we're going to grab a squeegee, load up the front just a little bit. You see how quickly that gets covered with just that little bit? Nice thin layer so that we can use it again. Okay, excess off. Peel back. Ta-da! I think we've got one more yellow down here. Again, I'm just looking for that little white piece. And then when I see that I no longer am seeing that white piece, I know I'm close to the edge of it. So that's right where I want to be. Oh, I think I actually might angle that just a little bit more. Let's give that a little more of an angle. There we go. Okay. One more time with the yellow. And you know what's cool too? I know that this is a little bit of a brighter yellow than I normally would have done. I have to look and see what color that is that they used actually in the picture. But you can create your own. I could have toned down the yellow a little bit in this with the buttermilk by just adding a little bit more white to it, and that would have toned it down because it is kind of bright. I like it. I'm okay with it, even though it doesn't 100% match. So it's fine with me. But if you want it to be like exactly how Couture did theirs, then you could just tone it down. Or you could get the right color that they used, which I don't know off the top of my head, sorry. Alright, so I think we've just got two more pieces, two more of these little guys, and these are also in yellow on the picture. So let's fuzz, and let's place these, and then we're done. So make sure everything's dry. Okay, we are dry. Let's put that one right there. Okay, a little more buttermilk. Just be careful on this because it does get close to the edge, but no worries if you go off because you can just use that Q-tip if I go off the transfer. Okay, there's one. So pretty. And then we've got one more down here. Okay. There we go. Oops, I think I missed the very tip there. Let's get that. And ta-da! We are done. Let's put this into this bucket too. I'm going to show you guys how to clean the transfers. Let me just show you. So here was the reference that we got from Couture. And then here was ours. Pretty cool, huh? And I love that you can get creative. You can mix and match your own things. You could use pieces of this transfer with another and create something totally unique. Hi, Gwen. So that's it. And remember I said I had the little boo-boo here where I had a little green on my, I had some green on my finger and I touched my dried O here. There's a couple things you could do. If I had a Q-tip, which I don't right now, I probably packed them. You could try to just lightly get that green off of there. Another thing you could do, kind of like almost like painting, make it like a happy accident, and you could just maybe take a little bit of green on your spatula and just put it in other places to make it look like it was done on purpose. So that's another way to fix a boo-boo. Or I could just kind of wash this piece off right here, and then once I clean my transfer, lay it back down and fix it. So there's some options right there. It's not bothering me too much. It's not that big of a deal. And I think this is going to look super adorable in my office on my wall for the holidays. Kind of funny because it's like, you know, you're at work and like kind of can take it two ways. Like, oh, what fun, I'm at work. But then, oh, what fun, it's the holidays. So that's cool. It's like a double meaning thing. So let's go ahead, slide that off to the side. I didn't use these stirry sticks and that squeegee. So again, we're just going to clean around the edge. A lot of it is repetition, but fun repetition because it's like the finished piece is so awesome. Okay. Now that we have got all of our jars closed up, I'm going to bring that bucket in that I was talking about. Okay, move the jars out of the way. Bring that bucket in. And I'm going to use one of my trusty old beat up kitchen towels. And here's that bucket. Okay, with all of our transfers and all of our tools and everything in there that we chalked on. So let's go ahead. I'm going to slide that up just a little bit. I've got some pretty beat up board erasers in here too that I'm not ready to give up on because they're still doing their job. And we're just going to go ahead and use those to go ahead, clean off our tools and clean off our transfers. So let's get some of the tools out of the way first. Get our stirry sticks and our squeegees out of the way. And remember what I said, how the big piece was down here at the bottom and then the little pieces are kind of on top? But it's not sticky anymore with water, so you can see they're not going to stick to each other. That's why when I did the big piece, I pushed it down, and then these guys I just kind of laid on top, and then they eventually sank. It's perfectly fine. They're not going to stick to each other. You're not going to have any problems so long as they're fully submerged and the sticky side of it is submerged in the water. The cool thing is to, once you clean it and you dried it, watching that sticky return, and then you can use it again and again. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then we've used a bunch of different tools here today. So let's grab this one. I'm just going to use the board eraser to kind of get that red chalk off the front and the back. And then we just lay it down on your towel, sticky side up, okay? And then we're going to do one final step, and I'll show you. I'm going to try to make quick work of getting these little pieces out of here for you so we don't take up too much more of your night. Just a few more. Now, sometimes when you have darker chalk paste, it will stain a little, and that's okay. Like the red is doing here around the bird. That's perfectly fine. You just want to make sure that the silkscreen area itself is clear of any chalk. I love the little bird in this one. He's super adorable. It would be so cute on, make a card maybe, like a Christmas card. That would be really cute with the little bird, or an ornament. These are really cute. All right, I got chalk paste all over on this guy. Just gonna use my nail to kind of get that off of there. Okay. I think we're down to our big one. So I'm just flipping it over and I'm using the bottom of the pan kind of to help me get that off. I think I need to run to the dollar store and get another bucket because this one's kind of getting gross. All right, and again, we're gonna just place that sticky side up. I'm just making sure I've got a couple more little tiny pieces in here and some of our tools. A lot more tools than transfers on this one tonight, guys. That's kind of funny. All right. I think we got everything. Grab a paper towel so I can dry my hands. Alrighty. Now, like I always say, I always like to get just some of that excess water from the back off of the transfers. Now is kind of important where you really don't want them to be near each other to stick, because they're going to start getting sticky again. So you just want to be careful that, whoops, like that, take your time. Just get some of that excess off of there. And then we'll leave the tools, we'll clean them. But oh, there's another little piece. Let me get him over here. Okay, and we'll get to the tools in a little bit. But the final step, disinfectant wipe. You can use any brand, any kind, just not baby wipes on our transfers. Okay, so then we're going to start on the side that we chalked. So I just flipped it over, clean the front, clean the back. That's all there is to it. Okay, flip it, front, clean the back. The disinfectant wipe is not only going to get any excess chalk that you may have had in there out of the silk screen, it's also going to help to try to get some of that lint that we put on there earlier from when we were fuzzing. It's going to help to get some of that off as well. So they're done. Flip it to this side and flip it back. Easy peasy. Not too difficult cleaning, right? The board eraser does do a really good job. So if you're a person that doesn't really like the smell of the disinfectant wipes, it's okay. If you do a really good job with your board eraser, your silk screen should be fine too. I just like the disinfectant wipes because it helps to get any of the chalk paste. Like, see how I had a little bit of white up here that I missed with my board eraser? It really helps to get that all off. But I know some people don't like the chemicals in the disinfectant wipes. They can be a little bit harsh. Again, so we're just going to do the back now. And the nice thing too is sometimes you'll notice on your squeegees that, especially the reds and the blacks, they stain a little bit. And if you use the disinfectant wipe, it clears that right up. It gets that that staining, it gets it right off of your tools as well. So you can see a little bit of red there on that one. So it really does do a nice job of getting rid of any of that staining on there. So that is pretty much it for tonight's project from start to finish. Where's my paper towel? That one's really wet. Let me get another one. So I'm going to grab the carrier sheet and I'm going to show you now. Typically, like I said, I would have permanent marker. So you can see that's the paper side, and then this side here is the, oh, did I lose you? Oh, hold on. I'm not sure if I lost you guys. It may have just been my iPad. Hang on one sec, let me check. Alright, what the heck happened? Let me see if we're still on. I think I am. still there. Oh my goodness, that was really weird. It just kind of went kaput on the iPad. So anyway, that's the shiny side. So I want to say that's this one. Yeah, it looks like it is. So that, nope, that's too small. It must be this one. So they are sticky again after we clean them. Yeah, this one looks like it goes on here. So we're just going to return the carrier sheet, or the transfer I should say, to the carrier sheet on the shiny side, just like that. And then that way we can reuse them over and over again. So let's get the big one. I'll grab that one real quick, because I have the other carrier sheets here. So the big one is pretty easy to do as well. Shiny side, paper side. So the shiny side is going to meet the sticky side here. So all you're going to do is just kind of line it up. It's not going to go back on there 100% perfectly, but just do the best you can. Okay, and then just press down and flip. And I like to just check for any bubbles. Whoops, trying to make sure I'm not hitting those little pieces there. And that's it, guys. That's all there is to clean it up. So thank you so much. Here it is again, our finished piece. So adorable. I love that little birdie. And that's it. Let me just touch that up there. I just wet my finger a little bit just to try to clean up that little boo-boo that I had there. And like I said, my little goof here, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I am going to try to maybe get a Q-tip from the bathroom and try to wash a little bit. I wonder if it would chip off. I'm probably going to wind up taking the white with it. So I'm going to leave well enough alone. But all that I would have to do is just wash that little piece off there, lay the transfer back down, match it up, and then just go over white again right here, and that will get rid of that green. Okay? Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.